Nation and Wrestling for Fans. I've I'm just gonna say it. I have a big problem with what you said. You said that the problem that you see with Eric Bischoff in any managerial role besides the NWO is that everyone is going to remember the NWO. You're right. Especially diehard WCW fans, such as yourself, will remember the NWO. And that's not a knock against you, and that's not a knock against WCW. But here's the problem. I will admit, without D-Generation X, there would be no NWO, and without the NWO, there would be no D-Generation X. Without D-Generation X and the NWO, there would have been no Monday Night Wars. But this is 2018. This is not the 1990s. Now I'm okay with the WWE bringing back the NWO. That's not what I'm saying. I am perfectly fine with them bringing the New World Order back. It's just Eric Bischoff doesn't have to bring it back. Eric Bischoff doesn't have to be a part of the NWO. It is true that he was the proverbial mouthpiece of the group. And the NWO was great for WCW. It was great for the wrestling industry as a whole. The NWO changed the entire face of the wrestling world. And I know WCW fans are going to get mad, but about me about to say what I'm going to say, and that's the NWO was a blessing and a curse for WCW. It was a blessing because it was a hot angle. And Vince McMahon couldn't even touch it until the Attitude Era. But it became a curse when the group started to grow, and it grew way too fast. You know, there was the storyline of them taking the mask off of Rey Mysterio, which is just disrespectful. There was the stun gun and Goldberg. There was the finger poke of doom. There was all this stuff associated with the NWO. Not only did the NWO consist of Hogan, Hall, and Nash, that's just the beginning. Pretty soon it consisted of Dusty Rhodes, Mr. Perfect. Oh, excuse me. They couldn't use Mr. Perfect because that was trademarked by the WWF, so they called him by his real name, Kurt Hennig. Macho Man, Randy Savage, Sting at one point in time. And yes, I am considering the NWO Wolfpack in this. But another thing about the NWO. Buff Bagwell, Scott Steiner, Virgil, Elizabeth, Medusa. I'm not even hitting all of the NWO because there was just so many NWO members, it became ridiculous. Week after week, the NWO grew and grew and grew and grew. And it just, WCW needed to slow their roll on growing the NWO. Because at the end of the day, when the NWO got stale and when the NWO lost their hype, no one cared about the NWO at that point. No one cared about the LWO, which was just a blatant ripoff of the NWO that in all honesty, I don't think the LWO should have existed. You know, there's an old saying, too much of a good thing is too much of a good thing. Okay. Well, what do I mean by that? The NWO was great, but it overstayed its welcome. It overstayed its welcome. And that's why when the went to Vince McMahon, I was amazed on how good Vince McMahon got the NWO. And say what you will that the NWO didn't work. Correction, it did. Now the WWE version of the NWO didn't last that long. It did not last that long at all. I mean, shortly after WrestleMania 18, let's see, Hall was fired from the company. Nash tore his quad for like the billionth time. And face. So may have not lasted long. I mean, they tried to hold everything together with Nash, but when there is one good thing about that whole NWO storyline, though, we got to see Shawn Michaels on WWE television again because he had to retire for 4 years after that after his casket match with The Undertaker on Monday Night Raw. If anyone remembers that. But I don't know, man. I mean, if they brought my whole situation, the whole thing about me giving ideas for Eric Bischoff, the idea of Eric Bischoff managing the Authors of Pain was I'm trying to get away from the NWO because it's not that I don't like the NWO. I do. I really, really do like the NWO. But wouldn't would the NWO work in this in this day and age? Would the NWO work? I mean, yes, we have the Bullet Club. We have the Aces and Eights, which I still say was a giant NWO ripoff. People may not agree with that, but that's my point of view. Um, we we've had Nexus. So yes, but in my opinion, the NWO does not have to come back to television. Now is now maybe now what I am saying. People look, if you're offended by what I've said, by what I'm saying, if you're offended by my opinion that the NWO doesn't have to come back to television, and you get perfectly right to mention why would the WWE trademark the NWO? Well, I'm going to answer your question with a question. Why would MLW trademark War Games? Now I'm going to answer both questions. It is, in my opinion, that MLW maybe got permission from Billy Corgan, but wait. The War Games was under Jim Crockett's. Vince only has, I think, the '90s version of maybe the 80s and the '90s version of WCW during Ted Turner's. But I mean, do I think the NWO would work? Yes. Yes, I do think the NWO could work. I'm not denying that. But I'm not worried about this, but you know, do I think that that I can talk. Do I think that the WWE will bring back the NWO? More than likely, yes. Yes. I think that the WWE will bring back the NWO. They would be stupid not to. But does Eric Bischoff have to be a part of it? I do not think so. Wrestling for fans, what do you think of my opinion? I am giving you free reign to rip my opinion apart if you want to. And Hardcore Nation, this is just my opinion, no one else's, mine. I'll be waiting to hear from you. I'm Hardcore Christopher. Keep it hardcore. Keep it hardcore, everyone.